Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. The Alex formerly known as Mickey Fan here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
And ladies and gentlemen, as we find ourselves on the cusp of Disney's big venture into the world of streaming, even courting a war in the process, we thought it'd be nice to stay up to date on the ever-growing catalog and rule on what's a must or what's a bust on Disney Plus. How you doing, Dragon?
I'm doing well. We're talking WandaVision, and plus we finally got to the episode I've been waiting for this whole time. And to make things even better, we're joined by the great Connor Nielsen.
Hello, everybody. I am back for more.
Better with the talk TV than essentially the man coming from the lineage of people who watch TV. Nielsen.
Yeah.
That is honestly, in my 25 years of life, the best Nielsen joke I have heard. So,
well, I feel good about things.
You should, because I have heard so many bad Nielsen jokes in relation to TV. So I give you a high five through the internet on that one.
Nice. Okay. We're joined in the comments by some old faithfuls. We got good old Donovan Martin, who's very excited for the episode as much as we are, and Connor, a mutual friend from the Geekvolution live streams, good old T-Edge1.
How you doing, Thomas?
Yeah. All right, guys. So let's Mickey fan, it's been a while. Why don't you tell us, kind of how you've been feeling about WandaVision in the interim? Why don't you kick us off? Like, how you've been feeling about it so far? It's been a while since we've heard from you on the subject.
In so many words, I love this. I love the mystery box aspect. I love just how slowly everything's been coming out. I love how tight everything's been written. This is the best writing that Wanda and Vision have ever had in the MCU.
Yeah, it's been pretty cool.
I'm just in love with the show.
So I think we all are in some way, shape, or form. Okay, let's go round table on kind of our thoughts on this episode. Connor, I'm going to start with you, buddy boy. Tell us what you thought of course, the episode title, All New Halloween Spooktacular.
You see, it's interesting. I'm glad I just found that out just now. When I watched it last night, it was just episode 6. But so I'm digging that title. I like it. First of all, we're doing the 90s. This is very much playing on, or I guess late 90s.
Yeah, we're doing like late 90s, early 2000s. It's kind of weird. A lot of people are wondering if we just
Malcolm in the Middle. I was not expecting the 90s episode to be Malcolm in the Middle.
Neither was I.
We got puka shells. We have Evan Peters basically playing Francis. We have Mom and Dad, or Lois and Hal, and it sort of has that fall energy. This is a Halloween episode, and I think that kind of being consistent with my thoughts on the show thus far, I think all the stuff happening within the Hex is as good as it's ever been. There are some fantastic moments, and the addition of Evan Peters only makes this better. I really like what we're doing with him dramatically and how it kind of services Wanda's character, where she now has like a person that she can be open to while Vision is becoming more wise to the mystery of what's going on. And I think the sword stuff is not really good, but
still coming down on, still falling on the sword stuff, eh?
The show is falling on its sword. Yeah. I would say that the sword stuff here is the best it's ever been, but I think that might have something to do with there being probably less of it than in the last few episodes. So yeah, I am still very positive on the show. I am in love with all the sitcom in Hex stuff, really liking the character work that we are building to with the titular characters. But yeah, I just think that the sword stuff, it can go, personally speaking.
Okay, but it's giving us the trio of It's giving us Darcy, Wu, and Monica. So you have to admit it's worth it just for that.
I'm gonna take a rain check on that for you, buddy.
Yeah, I don't. I think about you didn't quite watch the last recap, did you?
I did not.
Connor's got some pointed feelings towards Sword, appropriately enough.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I'm sorry. Uh, my bad. But yeah, I'm not. I see. I really like Randall Park. I don't know what it is in the Ant-Man and the Wasp movie and in this show. I feel like Agent Wu is just like, I don't know, like I feel like he's doing weird things with his performance that I don't know. I'm usually putty in Randall Park's hand, but I'm really not knowing what he's doing in this role. And I'm no fan of Darcy, especially in this show. But I think the character of Monica has the most potential out of all the new characters that we've been introduced. And I really liked her introduction, but I feel like last episode, the show kind of worked overtime to make me not like that character as much. But this episode, I kind of was able to recover some of that lost ground with her. So I'm excited for the future of Monica.
Well, as usual, I disagree with most of what Connor said there about like Darcy and especially Agent Wu, because I love me some Wu,
He's so
but
lovable.
he
Like
is.
I just
He learned the magic trick, darn it.
yeah.
But I do want to interject just a random question real briefly. Just given the Randall Park love otherwise from Connor. Connor, you ever see that movie Always Be My Maybe on Netflix?
I have not yet, actually.
He's so darn charming. That's such a charming
Yes.
movie. My God, it's
That's what my brother told me. He is
the
like,
ending is the ending's really heartwarming. Like not even the end, the post, like the mid credits scene. It makes you want to. Oh, it makes you like a tear come to the eye. Like oh my God, that's so nice.
This is a weird thing, but like I just thought of this. No, if Randall Park were 10 years younger, he would be like a top tier rom-com star.
I could see it, honestly. I think he has the chops to do it. He could pull that off.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's he's a handsome guy. He's got charisma and charm. He's also very funny. I think Randall Park has been like kind of popping up in like every comedy for the last 10 years. And I'm glad that his star is growing because he's been getting larger roles in the last few years. So I'm happy for the guy.
All right. Okay, big a fan.
Yes.
I'm sorry, we kind of start with Connor. So, I mean, in general, would you just kind of like hitch it to the wagon there? If obviously you really like the episodes up to this point, but this episode, anything else you want to get in there?
I have theories. I think that no, this probably is the best episode of the lot so far, which is honestly saying a lot. And yeah, like I said, I'm loving how they're just teasing out this mystery box. They're putting the pieces into place, and now it's time to start putting them all together.
Yeah, I mean, just real quick for me is again, as I said, this is like my most anticipated episode. Didn't disappoint for me at all. Appropriately, it's on Halloween, which is very, very appropriate given that we're starting to really get into the horrific reality of Westview. Of course, as Wanda now has kind of even more of a family with her brother coming back into the fray, she's confronted by kind of we're beginning to confront her with some irrefutable evidence, and slowly but surely, we're doing more and more of that, and we're coming, all of this coming from her deepest connection, which the deepest connection she has, short of Vision, of course, is her brother Pietro. So I mean, it's going to be really gruesome when the wheels start to come off in the coming episodes. I mean, my God, it ain't going to be a pretty sight, but it's going to be an interesting one. We all got to watch. It's going to be like like America's car wreck. We got to see it.
I mean, we'll get into Pietro.
So Dragon, why don't you gush about the Halloween stuff? I want to hear you geek out about it.
Okay, so yeah, this is the main that's the main reason I was really hyped for this episode too, because and also we have some kind of comments that are kind of sort of supporting this. Donovan Martin, he's very excited to see the Scarlet Witch costume realized, as am I, because I mean, for years I've always wanted. I didn't need the whole bells and whistles of the outfit. The fact that we got the full thing is perfect. I've always wanted her to have the headpiece. That's all I've wanted
Yeah.
with Scarlet Witch because I love that character. That was like the one thing that was missing all these years. Like, just give her the headpiece. So we got the headpiece. We put her in the full shebang. Called it like a Sokovian fortune teller, which is great. And I just love to. There's a lot of wish fulfillment with the costumes we got here. So we have her in that outfit. We have Vision as this kind of luchador sort of iteration of the. It looks very Ralph Cramden-esque. It looks very much like the Honeymooners version of the Vision costume, and I love it.
It does.
You were rewarded for your patience with Evan Peters in that costume.
Just putting him in that was a bonus I didn't even see coming. I didn't think about it because I was this whole time I'm waiting to see. Okay, I want to see those Funko Pops come to life. Darn it, I want to see that trailer moment. I wanted because I bought that one, the Funko Pop, man, because I just wanted. So I just finally, oh my god, we have like full on Quicksilver with Evan Peters, no less. This is just, I mean, again, he was so fantastic in the X-Men movies, and finally putting him in the costume we kind of teased up with the other Quicksilver. It's just it was just great. And again, as I mentioned before, I like that we kind of thematically we're doing this we're doing the fan service on the front, but we're deeper. There's deeper reasonings for this too. Like we're doing nods to them. Like the twins, for example. Like the twins have costumes that are actually foreshadowing, what they become in the comics. And even if we're not necessarily going there, we have like big teases, like the Speed and Wiccan, with who they become.
Yeah, I was a fan of seeing everybody's costume myself. I wish I had a chance to like kind of pause the episode and go frame by frame and see like all the background costumes to see if there were some in jokes or references. But with the episodes with costumes that I was paying attention to, I thought it was very fun and clever, and they gave Evan Peters that hair.
Mm-hmm. They gave him that's what's perfect about it too. Like
they gave him the devil horns.
Yep, which also has led to some speculation, which I will get to soon.
Yeah, my roommate, that was the first thing he said after the episode. He's like, "This might sound crazy, but the hair kind of looks like devil horns."
Yep. But so again, like I read, the episode already has like a major win. Has a major like check in the win category with this. Aesthetically, I'm very served right now.
We just need to talk about how good Elizabeth Olsen looks in that costume.
She does, man. I don't want to get off that because obviously she's a gorgeous actress too. But I mean, seriously, I've been loving just Wanda as a character and loving like what we've been doing from the beginning of this show onwards. She just keeps getting better in the MCU, and this is like the pinnacle. If it doesn't get any better than this, and how does it not get any better? We put her in the outfit, and we did.
Yeah,
and like it's sexy, but it's not male gazy.
Yeah,
and
it's not.
That's what I love about it.
Yeah, we put her in pink and red, like
yeah.
It's classy.
It looks like Wanda, especially. It looks like she was just pulled right out of the Silver Age.
Yeah, I know exactly. It's flawless.
Yeah, I don't know who it is. Somebody caught on that Elizabeth Olsen is a very, very beautiful woman, and it's like, okay,
yeah, Donovan Martin. Yeah,
wear this magician's assistant costume. Okay, now wear this groovy 70s clothing. Okay, now wear this Scarlet Witch costume.
Everything, I don't say everything looks good on Elizabeth Olsen. It really kind of comes down to when you really think about it. But that's the thing. We just represent, like, Scarlet Witch has always had like kind of this great design with that outfit, and it's always it's just seeing it realized in live action, with an actress who's done such a great job putting in the character work, has also just kind of made it all worthwhile in the end too. But we might be. Look, I can't believe I'm saying this. We might be gushing too much on the costumes after all this buildup, but it's I love the crappy details of Vision's costume too. I love he has like a little tassel for the Mind Stone.
Look, I'm digging the collar on the cape.
Yeah,
Yeah.
When he phases out of his costume, I was like, yeah, but you can keep the collar, bro. Like,
Yeah, color's cool.
and I think it does speak volumes to like the costume design that Elizabeth Olsen and Evan Peters are able to have like very emotional heart-to-heart scenes
Yeah,
wearing those costumes, and it doesn't feel silly. And I think that does come down to like the setting where it's framed around Halloween, but the costumes themselves also don't, kill the mood, which is cool.
yeah.
I think that's something you give the costume department.
One
Oh,
thing
who did the costumes in this show?
I don't. God, they have a lot of Easter eggs to the people in the production in this episode, like on tombstones and like on like the little some of the ID stuff. I like when we're hacking into the sword stuff. Like I don't know necessarily who did the costumes though. I mean, I
Maya's Rubeo.
oh, they did a great job.
Yeah.
There's one thing. There was one other costume thing. It's on the bucket list. I can't wait to see because they teased it up in the marketing just a little bit. There's like this big poster shot of Wanda and Vision just kind of in front of all these TVs, and you kind of glimpse some of their MCU outfits. Now, the outfit on Scarlet Witch, there's like a little bit of this costume, but the main thing that's kind of showcased is a costume we've never seen before. Which, if they're doing what I think they're doing, I'm going to be gobsmacked and happy. If they basically take this costume, but we make it more kind of tactically appropriate, like basically make it look like Vision's costume. And again, the main thing I don't know if they're going to do or not, but they have to, right? Give her the headpiece. Just give her that.
We had been speculating last week that we've not called her Scarlet Witch in this show so far, and that maybe if she goes on to be the villain in like several projects moving forward,
I genuinely don't
title.
think they are. They are not setting. This show is not setting Wanda up to be a villain.
But what I was getting at was there was speculation. We were speculating that might happen last week. But if she does become a villain, then her super villain name could be Scarlet Witch. And if they do that, if they kind of gave her a costume that reflected more of her comic book design, as you were saying, Dragon, like something a little more tactical, but it was still very rooted in that original design, that could be really cool.
Yeah. All right. Okay, let's see. Perhaps we should talk about kind of the opening that kind of set the stage. A little bit of that Malcolm in the Middle opening.
Yeah. No, that opening started, and I wasn't even a second in, and I said Malcolm in the Middle.
I know, right?
Yeah, my roommates and I, we all laughed, and it was like pitch perfect, and it was really great when it said "and Peter as himself." That was we have an "and" credit, which is great.
Yeah,
that "and" credit combined with other stuff in the episode, those are some red lights for me.
Yeah, I really like the big main takeaway I get with like choosing Malcolm in the Middle of all the things they really kind of themed the opening to, and just kind of like again seemingly the style. Because remember, the episode starts and the focus is on the kids, which I thought was really interesting and a really good idea. I think the goal that what we're doing here is we're trying to get the audience to fall in love with Tommy and Billy. So when something bad happens to them, which inevitably is coming,
and it was a success.
Right, because you like these kids, right? Just based on like the 2 episodes we've gotten with them.
Kid actors, they can either be awful or great, and these kid actors are great.
Let alone, they're probably actually twins too, which is
One thing I really like is that when you go back and you watch the like Malcolm in the Middle or something, the humor of that show kind of comes from. It's not your average sitcom. This is when we were doing the kind of post sitcom where like there's no laugh track. It's about a dysfunctional family that's not the Brady Bunch. This family argues with each other, and they're kind of at odds in every episode. And it's a good choice because as the pressure is mounting and like the Wanda is struggling to keep everything together. It is a good choice not to kind of drop the laugh track. But what I also like is that when you watch Malcolm in the Middle, it sort of has this sort of snarky sense of humor where Malcolm's a know-it-all smart kid, and so he talks really fast and tries to get a lot of information in big words. And those kid actors in that show would tend to slur their words together a little bit because it's a lot of rapid-fire dialogue, and they're young. And similarly, the kids are like perfectly recreating that, where they come across as like decent kid actors, but maybe not the best kid actors, and they're like maybe slurring their words together a little bit because the dialect is like a perfect recreation of that Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah.
And that made me giggle the whole way through.
I got a theory about the boys. I think we might be building to them saving the day in a major way. Basically, I think what's going to happen is they're maybe going to attempt to, maybe not directly like the next episode, but I'm saying by the end of things, or at least by a penultimate or something. I'm saying by the big kind of breaking point for Scarlet Witch. I think what might cause, I think they either to wake their mother up or to save Vision or save the town or something. They're going to do like they're going to sacrifice themselves, which is going to lead to Wanda's breakdown. Because I think they're going to fulfill their heroic potential. Whether they're, for all we know, we could age them up to actually being those characters at the end of the day. For all we know. Or either that, or like be like a dramatic. Imagine a dramatic moment where like the hours ticking down, and the kids age themselves up in a second to save the day, and they tell Mom, you got to stop this. They're trying to say like this isn't right, and then they walk out of the hex or something, and then one is completely breaks down once whatever happens to them once they step out of the hex. Which just looking at what happened to Vision is not going to be pleasant.
Yeah, if they do step out of the hex, it is not going to be pretty.
No. So yeah.
But judging by the ending, if the hex was a little Big Bang, it can expand just like the universe expands. And
I know it's.
Well, we do see it expand.
I'm curious to know how much more unstable the hex becomes, and like Wanda's powers become as the space of the hex increases. I think
that is a very good question, because I think the big theory, I think it kind of got not the most original theory, but I got to tell you, just based on one thing I think we've had confirmed this episode is that, okay, so if there was any doubt, Monica, she got her powers in this show, so she's becoming Photon with the whole blood work thing we got back. Or okay, or on a cellular level, she's changing. Therefore, we're gonna superpower. We're gonna turn her into Photon. That makes me wonder, with the hex changing and knowing that it's gonna fundamentally alter people. I think we might have created mutants under the radar here. Like, oh god, with this thing expanding, I think we might have just created mutants.
Absolutely creating mutants.
Which, by the way, that's awesome. I don't think anybody's fan theory was that, so that's cool.
I think we're probably going to give it a name in Doctor Strange, but I think we just did it here. At least basically at the point where if this thing goes global, then we're going to fully have mutants. I think that's kind of what we're leading to with this.
And furthermore, I think that it's going to be like whatever she does is going to lead to a distrust of mutants, because
it's going to be a very House of M thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you think about it, this is kind of brilliant. This kind of occurred to me now.
This kind of is the MCU's House of M.
Well, absolutely. We already kind of had a lot of murmurs and a lot of evidence kind of pointing towards that. But what I mean is, I love that we've used Wanda Maximoff as a centerpiece for a lot of these huge events, where of course the creation of her and Vision and Ultron, very kind of linked there. I mean but more importantly, we've turned her into, the whole new Warriors, extravaganza from the Civil War comics. The whole Lagos explosion, all these big events, and House of M on top of that. We're tying it all to her. Like, the woman almost defeated Thanos. We've been building her power up, man, progressively. She killed Ultron. She almost killed Thanos. She kind of created the Accords, essentially. We've been just building this. And no wonder it's going to be distrust, is what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. That's a good observation. One thing I have a question about is I'm curious. Are we going to get into Quicksilver now? Because
let's get into it.
Yeah, sure.
Because I've been itching to talk about this.
Like, there's something up with this guy.
Yes, there is.
Between Pietro as himself, no, he can't die twice. Comment. That is not Pietro.
Yeah, that's the thing. Either Pietro is just really, really mean, or that's somebody parading as Pietro there. Now, of course,
and like even in Age of Ultron, where he was written as like cocky, kind of annoying. He wasn't this obnoxious. He wasn't this grating.
That is true.
One thing I like is that as I had mentioned earlier, like for the first several episodes, Vision was like Wanda's person that she talked to.
Yes.
And now that he's starting to become a little skeptical and starting to investigate his own, she's having that less and less. And now she has, a person who she was close to who also died, that she, had a very deep emotional relationship with, which was obviously like her brother or her twin brother. And so like that person enters, and then it's sort of interesting because it's like, what's going on? Because based on all the rules that had been established, him showing up is a big question mark. And then we get more definitive answers as to, okay, he's not ported over from an alternate universe. We got that much, right? Because she has that like sort of echoing what that reveal with Vision's like zombie corpse thing. We have a similar thing here. And so I don't know if it's somebody that I'm thinking that Wanda, this whole thing was sort of a collaborative effort between her and maybe a Mephisto type figure, and maybe that Mephisto type figure is masquerading around as a Pietro or what, but something's up with him. And I love Evan Peters, but I'm very curious to know. Like I feel like the last mystery of what's really going on is tied to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think like the three kind of possibilities are, I mean, either we did pull him from another universe, but he's immune because basically you'll notice Pietro throughout this episode, he was really breaking the fourth wall. And well, less so, like the kids were kind of breaking the fourth wall in the Malcolm in the Middle style, but more so.
And like, if you look in the background when they're breaking the fourth wall, he notices.
I know he does. I'm so glad yes. Well, what I'm getting at is, Pietro. He's, he knows all the tropes and everything. He's calling out the sitcom tropes in a really kind of creepy way, where it's like, oh god, he's breaking her illusion a little bit. Basically, he's like, oh yeah, I know what's going on, but don't worry about it. I'm on your side. It's like, yeah, I'm here to stir the pot. That's why you brought me here. So, I mean, either one, he's somewhat immune, or like it works differently on him because he's from a different reality, which I mean I don't think is necessarily the case. There's the really dark version, which is, again, per the Vision of it all, maybe she somehow pulled the corpse and reanimated that too. Which is really,
why does he look different?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like, well, I mean, one, to reanimate a corpse, it might just be magic that also changes his face, but that's why I think of all these theories, I think that the most credence lends itself to the Mephisto thing. I think Mephisto might actually be at the end of the day. I mean, of course, the devil horns, and also he says like your little devil spawns to the kids, which people are really kind of taking notice of, which essentially is Mephisto's whole thing. He created those kids.
Yeah, these are all very interesting clues. And
I gotta tell you, I'm seeing a lot of credence in that Mephisto thing. Just given that he has like that sinister devil vibe.
Even if it's not Mephisto, it's someone similar.
Okay, now there is a theory who the other possibility is. If it's not Mephisto, the other magical entity it could be. Okay, so this is a big theory. It could be a Doctor Strange villain, which could definitely lead into the Doctor Strange movie. A guy called Nightmare. Now, I don't know a whole lot. Now, I don't know a whole lot about Nightmare. I just know what I've heard from our other kind of go-to guy on Doctor Strange, which is the Jake Gulliver. Jake Gulliver, he's the master of Doctor Strange, Sorcerer Supreme of knowing about the Sorcerer Supreme. So, Nightmare, essentially, long story short, he's a character who siphons off. He siphons off. He could basically be siphoning off Wanda's power because his whole shtick is that he fuels himself. He feeds off psychic and subconscious, thoughts.
Yeah, and when you consider this week's commercial,
that was what I was.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's basically there's a lot to unpack with the commercial. Let's start with guys. What happens in the commercial?
Kid on a desert island, starving, random
A
shark comes
rad
out.
shark with sunglasses comes surfing out of the water. Oh, that was great. And gives him yo magic, which is a
Who
kind
wants some yogurt?
yeah.
Oh yeah, so
Like
yes,
this is peak late 90s, early 2000s.
yeah, it's like that. It's like that Chips Ahoy commercial stuff. You know, it's like
It's all
that.
stop motion.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah.
he's like,
but
I want to
creepy.
feed on yo magic. So
Mm.
somebody is clearly feeding
So again,
on
that's like
Wanda's
lends
magic.
credence to the nightmare or Mephisto of it all, right there. Yeah,
Yeah. Like
is that she
yeah.
probably like she could possibly, I don't know if through Agnes or what, or somehow like she made a deal with the devil in this case, possibly Mephisto. And in making that deal, it's like, hey, I'm going to give you whatever you want so long as I can siphon off basically what you're doing. So perhaps that's why the whole town's in on. Like he can feed off all the victims and the hostages.
So
And
quick
again,
question.
yes.
Sorry, you were just mentioned Agnes. Has Agnes and Quicksilver ever been in a scene together?
Wait.
No.
Well, not unless. No, not together because even if you counted the opening, they weren't in the same clip together. So no.
So
Yeah.
I'm wondering if the spirit, maybe like whoever is in, like, if somebody is sort of using the Quicksilver body to trick Wanda, maybe that's the same spirit that could be inside of Agnes whenever she's near, because we have an interesting scene with Agnes that sort of paints her as another victim, like
Yeah.
Vision's coworker last episode.
But it feels different.
Does it? See, that's the thing, is because like
It feels a little different. It's not as like manic and terrified as the scene with Vision's coworker.
Well, that's true. I think that can be chalked up to like personality, but the broad strokes are pretty similar. It just seems a little interesting because previously Agnes seems to be aware that she is in a sitcom. And so that kind of Agnes seems to not be the same Agnes that Vision runs into. So I'm just curious if there's like one sort of inhabiting spirit jumping between Agnes and Pietro.
Well, there's a little bit of a hole in that theory, Connor.
What's that? What's that?
Okay, so the hole is remember Herb. So Herb, we've had these moments with Herb and with Agnes where they're kind of they kind of know that they're in a simulation. Basically, it seemed to me Agnes, while she's on the outskirts of town, when she's all those people that are frozen like essentially near the border of the hex, near like at Ellis Street, which is of course not at Warren Ellis. That's I think it's like the simulation having a glitch, where again it's like she's just kind of frozen there, and like that's why she's kind of stuck at that corner. And it's kind of like when Herb had his glitch when he was like cutting into the not the shrubs, not the bushes, but into like the brick wall. So that makes me think that it's I don't think it can be like the Mephisto or like whatever mystery figures operating behind the scenes purely because why would she be glitching out if that was the case?
That's a good point.
That is a real good point.
Now, I guess that raises a question for me, which is if enough people know that they are inside of a vision of some kind, if you factor in Herb and Agnes, why is it that Vision can like wake them up to that fact?
Well, it's because he also we don't know exactly how, but somehow Wanda has mimicked the reality. Sorry, not the wrong stuff. That's mimicked the Mind Stone in Vision, which has given him his powers. Which again, I mean, I guess the idea is she basically recreated a little bit of her power. Which I mean, I guess she somehow got a boost or something to create the whole, the hex of it all. She got a pointer. She got something. Somehow she's a little more powerful, and she's kind of replicated what Vision could do, and Vision could do that stuff.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not questioning how Vision can do that. I think I understand that. It's just that sometimes, like so earlier when Vision is talking to Herb, and when Vision sees Herb and Agnes talking to each other, and they're like, "Oh, don't you know what's really going on?" They seem to understand that they're performing in another person's sitcom, and they seem to be wise to the fact. But then also Vision needs to break people out of the spell in order for them to be like, what's going on? Whoa. And so it seems like, I don't know if that's like some kind of inconsistency or if there's a reason why some
Well,
people.
here's what we know. We know when they were having their little meeting, that was more them the simulation. That wasn't them like the terrified hostage.
I know. But it's like when Agnes has like a, hey, you want me to do another take of that?
Yeah.
That's her sort of not playing a character. That's her like basically playing an actress who knows she's in a show. And same thing with Herb. But like when you have people who act like a terrified hostage once Vision yanks them out.
It's interesting. Maybe we just don't have the variables yet on that. Maybe that's it. But I mean, that's a fair question, though. I don't know.
So the best way I can describe what we have right now is we have all the edges of the puzzle, but we don't have those centerpieces that you can actually figure out what the picture is.
Basically, so the only
and I'm fully willing to accept that there are more answers to come. But I'm just right now I'm like thinking if there is going to be something that might not add up, it could be that.
Okay, so Donovan brings up a line here, which is also really interesting. Yeah, so we had this moment with Herb as the Frankenstein, where it's like, Wanda, you want me to change? You want something changed? As in, hey, do you want reality changed or something? Like a little bit of like little helper monkey kind of mentality.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the closest thing we have to the centerpieces of this puzzle are that commercial, the Yo Magic of it all, which again, essentially that. Any way you want to slice it, I mean, at the very least, it's an allegory for what Wanda's done here. She's made a deal with someone, most likely Mephisto, maybe Agnes is Agatha Harkness, for all we know. Or again, just in general, however, whatever.
Agatha Harkness is all but confirmed at this point.
Sure. Plus, we gave her the white hair as the witch, too, which again is looking a little Agatha Harkness. So that's the thing. So, however, any way you slice it, the point being, we're seeing like a Faustian bargain of some kind has been struck here, and basically, it's like some kind of like someone offering power. But again, the tragedy of it being there's a catch, is in like, hey, I'm going to give you this power, but ultimately, it's a delusion. It's the delusion of salvation. It's empty hope.
Mm-hmm. And I am willing to bet that the reality stone is involved in some way.
You'd be wrong, sir. I'll tell you what stone it actually is.
Oh, well, lay it on me.
No, I'm sorry. I mean, ultimately, it might be the reality. I thought you meant like which Infinity Stone are they hinting at this week? Sorry.
Oh no.
And ultimately, I think you might be right about the Reality Stone thing. But I mean, no. This case, it's this Infinity Stone seems to be the Soul Stone. Because think about it. You have to make a sacrifice. We end up with again a kid in a red shirt with a skull.
Oh,
and
okay.
And ultimately, it's just pretty much again, it's like the whole soul. It's you have to it's the trade off for the soul thing. I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like we're just done with the stones, though.
That's also possible. At the very least, it's a big foreshadow to what probably is at the heart of the show. But I'm just saying, if you want to look for a stone, I mean, I think Soul Stone is probably the one that makes most sense. So.
Yeah, but like, I just know the stones have had their moment. It's time to move on.
Wait, Mickey fan, you've heard about the stone theory, right?
No.
Oh, that's what I'm sorry. That's okay. So what we've been getting at, there's actually been a track here. So basically, in all the commercials, there's been like something that kind of alludes to an Infinity Stone, and I'm saying this is probably the Soul Stones. Like, think about it. Okay, so you go back to the toaster. It's kind of like either the Power Stone or the what was it? Well, basically, a lot of people are thinking it's the Power Stone or the Mind Stone, being the toaster. Okay. Because it has like a little thing at the center of it, and it's kind of like it's using a lot of power to do something anyway. So it's either then you get to the watch commercial, which would be the Time Stone. Then you get to the I'm just trying to remember. Oh yeah, you get to the soap commercial, the Hydra soap. It's in a cube shaped box. That's the Space Stone. And then you get to the Lagos paper towels. It's a red liquid. It's the Reality Stone. This would be the Soul Stone, which would then leave the either the Mind Stone or the Power Stone, depending where that first one lands on.
Yeah, I'm still in camp. Like, I think, however the hex was created, the Reality Stone is involved because Wanda got her powers. Same with Vision from the Mind Stone.
Mm-hmm.
Her powers in the past have been, she can make people trip balls, and hallucinate. And so now with these reality warping things, it seems she might need some extra help, and it looks like she has had some extra help. So.
And a little fun fact. Now, again, this is like a deleted scene. I don't know if they're ever going to put this back in, but then again, so was Sword. Sword was supposed to be in the first Thor movie, but they cut that out. So the Agatha Harkness is kind of alluded to in, remember the weird bath scene that Thor had in Age of Ultron when he was like, hey, he's going to he's learning about the Infinity Stones. So the idea is that he was possessed by those witches, which included Agatha Harkness. Okay. So basically she might be the link to how you get the Reality Stone in play. So that's kind of the theory going there. So I don't know if they're going to say that scene actually happened or not, but they're just going to say that. The point being that the witches, the witches have a tie to Norse mythology, which has a tie to the knowing about the Infinity Stones. That's kind of the link I'm trying to draw.
And then Quicksilver is going to jump in from a future movie, and he's going to say, "Agnes is the key."
Oh, that's great.
So I wanted to quickly mention another thing. I think for the most part, the show continues to be doing twins right. If anybody missed the last episode, I am a twin, an identical twin, and I have had.
Are you the evil twin?
Oh God, don't do it. And I've had to like roll my eye countless times over whenever a twin gets brought into a movie or a TV show or something. It's like, all right. It's always like poorly. I feel like it's poorly representative of how twin relationships actually are, and. It used to be there was only like 2 movies that I could like count where they actually, I think, handled the twin relationship in a way that was like authentic. And I think I would actually have to add this, because the way the twin boys are handled is like really believable and cool. And I like how one of them is given like speed powers and the other one does not have that power. It's like, usually it's like, well, they're twins, so give them the same power. Or furthermore, you give this one power and the other person has the inverse of that power. I see, it's clever because it's like the same power, but it's not, but it is. And it's like, okay. And the way they seem to interact feels very authentic. And I appreciate that a lot. And especially with fraternal relationships, you know, it kind of keeps the same authenticity with you have that moment where Peter's talking to Wanda and he's like, look, I'm not some guy, I'm not your husband, like you can just talk to me, like I'm your brother, you can just talk to me. And then she's able to open up to him, and all that stuff I greatly appreciated.
I am not a twin, but I do have an older sister, and the sibling relationship really is on point here.
Yeah, I really like their dynamic. I love like seeing her as as the mom figure and Pietro as kind of the one uncle. I really love like how they can confide in each other, and of course then you have like the creepy angle with the whole like, it's not like you can get died twice and just blast them across the thing. So it's gonna be
no, and that was the moment I said that is not Pietro.
That's the thing though. But there's also a question of. I think you're right, Mickey fan, but just to play devil's advocate, no pun intended to the Mephisto fans in the audience. But just on the off chance that it was Pietro, but again, just under this reality, maybe going too far, just because he's like somehow seeing past like the whole, he's just being really callous about it. Assuming let's just say because of like how weird things can be in here, that was just him being callous. That might just be Wanda just like overreacting and like that like, hey, you're playing by my rules here, and I think that's crossing a line, and bam.
No, but like look at their relationship in Age of Ultron.
No, I believe it. I'm just sure.
Like unless the character writing in this show is so good, it is so on point that I cannot believe that they would write Pietro like this and not have it be an intentional hint.
Yeah, Zombie Pietro's kind of a jerk, but again, intentional.
So, here's a question. Do you guys think Evan Peters will be in the next episode? Because he has a kind of an offhand line of like, hey, you bring in a special guest star for a holiday episode, and he just kind of kind of briefly mentions that. I think he'll be in the next episode.
I read that line wrong. I thought he was talking about the kids. Because remember, let's talk about that, because we got a payoff here. So think about it. Last episode, we've been building up the kid thing for a long time, because we had the very memorable, Connor, you know this recently, for the children.
Yeah.
Caught on like wildfire this week, that's all I'll say. But being for the children, but we've been building this up, and like Vision called Wanda out, like, where are all the children? I see empty playground every time I walk to work. Which, of course, this episode, I think it was like an overcorrection of like, hey,
now there are kids everywhere,
and it's Halloween of all holidays, just to prove that there are kids. Like all the kids would be out here, and also as Pietro calls her out on here, but again, all agreeable and all sinister, like. He points out, like, oh yeah, I get, you had lines you wouldn't cross, but you like, where'd you hide the kids? Because the idea I got from this is that she didn't want to like take kids as hostages here. That's why she kind of like squirreled them away somewhere so they'd be separate. Like she put like married couples, but like she didn't try to violate any like sanctity of anyone. Like no one's married, just complete strangers. Like these are actual couples that are married. It seems, according to the like the Harts are married in real life. And stuff like that, and it just seems like she's kind of starting to cross lines she wouldn't cross. Like now she's possibly victimizing kids and like robbing them of their faculties, so to speak.
Right.
So it was kind of a call out by her. Yeah.
So do you guys think that we're gonna bring in Magneto by the end of this, because they are talking up their parents quite a bit the last couple episodes?
That they are. Imagine this. Like so the theory. I'm sorry, Mickey fan. Go on. Yeah.
Part of me thinks they are. Part of me thinks that they're going to just distance away from the Magneto backstory.
Well, I mean, before, like we heard a little bit about the whole, hey, your brother, was mentioned a couple of times.
Well, yeah.
We brought him in, and now they're really pressing the parent stuff. So.
Yep, our parents would like it here. That whole, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think their parents are going to show up. I just don't think it's going to be Magneto.
If it's not Magneto, it's probably going to be the couple from the commercials, because they keep popping up.
Yeah,
and a lot of people have been theorizing those are the parents, and we keep having these tragic things in all these, these commercials. So it's that would be the payoff. And again, think about it, many times they've been cast as like husband and wife, or like usually the mother. Usually that's kind of what the lady is in those ads.
Now, do we think that the boys are going to stay kids, or are they going to be aged up next episode?
If there's a sacrificial moment, I think by the end of the thing they're going to be full. They could be full-on adults. But just logic-wise, you'd think they're just going to keep aging up a little bit, don't you? Like they'll probably be like teenagers in either in the next episode or what have you.
The next episode is the Office Modern Family, right?
Well, if they do Modern Family, they have to be teens, right?
Yeah.
And we're kind of in the 2000s. We're kind of in that late 90s, early 2000s kind of thing here, which again is so weird. We kind of circumvented the 90s for the most part.
Yeah. I mean,
but it is kind of low-hanging fruit, though, let's be honest.
To be fair, for where the story is right now, you couldn't do like a Full House, Family Matters.
You could have done like a Roseanne thing, maybe. But I think
but Roseanne was last week.
Yeah, we kind of did that last week.
Though. Oh, okay, not bad. Yeah, I think for what the subject matter is, I think this fits.
Yeah, so a Full House would not have worked.
Oh, so we have some comments here we should read. So Claude Coringa, Claude says, imagine Bob Saget or John Stamos as Wanda and Vision's dad. That sounds hilarious, albeit, but I had a different theory. Now again, I didn't pick up in the early stages, so I didn't pick up the whole like the parents might be the people in the ad. So if you don't go the Magneto route, we don't go the ad route. The joke I've had is that what if somehow Hawkeye and his wife, what if they were like, because again, he was kind of a father figure to her in many respects. What if he was the father that came in? Like, what if we did like the in-laws are visiting episode?
Oh,
and it would be
that would be awesome.
like
would
that
be
sort of thing.
that would be kind of
What
fun,
if
honestly.
Vision's parents come and it's Ultron?
Okay,
But,
so
like,
I'm so
but
glad you brought that up.
but
Okay,
it's,
so
but
that's
it's just James Spader.
okay.
Wearing a
Yeah.
suit.
But what if it wasn't though? What if it just was?
I want to see a robot wearing a suit, like a giant robot. Where are the grandkids? Hey,
Okay.
kiddo.
Okay, but seriously though, in all seriousness though, I really do want to see Ultron. I gotta be honest, like in some form, whether it be James Spader and just realized, or if it actually is like Ultron. I really would like to see that. Given that thing, we've been really leaning into Ultron a little bit this with this season because we've been talking about events around Ultron. Pietro made fun of how he got shot by Ultron. And Ultron. Thing about the big reason I think Ultron has to show up is Vision's story. So Vision's story is boiling down to in the scene with Agnes, he doesn't remember he's an Avenger. And I really think we're building to the point where we're going to boil things down to why do Wanda and Vision love each other? We're going to have to go fundamentally to the beginnings of their relationship, which is linked together by Ultron. Therefore, Ultron kind of story-wise, if we keep digging back in some way, shape, or form, Ultron has to come back into the fray, and I think that'd be a really great way of doing it.
Okay. Yeah, but it should also be said that I think on average, like if you had to do this is probably the most reference heavy Marvel property in a long time. Like it's not just referencing its own movies, but there are so many comic book references just falling out of every frame, it feels like.
You can really tell that this entire series is such a work of love
I think,
from everyone involved.
I also want to give a special shout out to director Matt Shackman. He has directed every episode of this show. I know him as a person who directed almost 50 episodes of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh yeah, yep.
Which is one of my favorite television shows.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's great. That's a great show.
We still have not broached Sword. I feel like this is going to be the part where we're going to have our first fight.
Okay, real quick though, Donovan says James
now.
Spader's in the cast, which I wonder, Donovan, if that's true, that's amazing. We got our wish, Connor.
Well, what do you know? If you ask for it plenty of times, it might come true.
Yeah, I hope that's. Oh, it says yes. Okay, yeah. All right, little victories. Okay, so Sword, yeah. So Hayward's a jerk. He's a big jerk, right? Are we all?
Hayward.
Yeah, his first line, I almost laughed out loud. Or I was like, "Wow."
Right. He said, "You mean the whole who's the sassy best friend?"
Well, it wasn't that. It was early on where they're like, "Hey, idiot! You almost blew everybody up," and he's like, "Oh, well, now we know the level of power we're dealing with."
What a moron! Hayward's just this prick, really.
Get out of here, you dummy! Come on.
He is.
I think
he is just the definition of failing upwards.
He's the prick who kicked the hornet's nest, and of course, given the possible aim leanings of this plot, I think that's apt.
He's like, yeah, oh my word, yeah. And then I think it's very suitable that when the hex was expanded, all of the Sword people turned into clowns.
Yeah, but why not him though? I wanted to see that guy get it in the end.
You don't worry. I think he's got a fate coming that'll be worth it.
I think part of me thinks that he's gonna get pulled into the hex, and he's gonna be that one character in every sitcom who everyone just shits on.
Oh, you mean he's gonna be okay? If they do The Office, he's gonna be Toby.
Yes. Oh,
yes.
He's gonna be Toby of The Office. We're gonna go to Vision's work for an episode, and we're gonna have the two. He's like, when Vision goes home, it's gonna be Modern Family. When he's at the office, though, it's gonna be The Office.
The Office.
Oh, that'd be great. I would love to see. One of my favorite Office quotes is where Michael Scott goes, he's HR, so he's not really a part of our family. Also, he's divorced, so he's not really a part of his own family either. I mean, that's a horrible thing to say, but it's one of the best lines.
Hilarious, though.
And I would love to see some kind of riff on that joke in the direction of Hayward.
Yeah. But, Hayward's really shady in this episode, though. In all seriousness, right?
Yeah.
I mean, come on, we have to admit, Darcy is just killing it this episode.
Well,
Darcy's
you guys
what?
would agree on that. So
You don't like Darcy?
I really don't.
I think it's the best Darcy we've gotten in the MCU, but
I know everybody seems to be. I'm on an island by myself. I recognize I'm in the minority here, but
he's got a lot of Darcy hatred built like filling the tank there, Nicky Fan. I don't think we'll be able to fix that.
I mean, honestly, Kat Dennings could breathe, and I would applaud her. So,
well, there goes the legitimacy, but okay.
But like there's like the part where Vision steps out and he starts like disintegrating, and she's like, "Somebody help him!" It's like, girl, really? The last person who went in and out of there, their DNA has been rewritten fundamentally. That's like a weird corpse thing. We don't know what's going on with him. By the way, help him how? What can we do? He's being like pulled apart by like an energy field. We could all get hurt. How would you suggest helping, Darcy? What do you got? And then so she's like really upset about that. But then somebody like handcuffs her to a Jeep and then just like bounces on her, and she's just like, "Oh, come on." It's like, what? You should be like livid that somebody's like leaving you to die attached to a Jeep.
I mean, but like that. I mean, that's not. I mean, like the being livid about it. I don't feel like that is Darcy.
Or like she would be scared or something. I don't know. It's like kind of played like a, "Oh, give me a break." Like, what?
I mean, she's upset. Like, oh man, no, she's like critiquing. "Oh, you coward, man! You left me here. You're supposed to uncuff me, and then we'd run." Come on!
It was like in The Rise of Skywalker when the shuttle blows up, and then Finn's like, "Oh man." It's like, that was Chewie. You want to get a little bit more upset about that? We got another take of that somewhere? I don't know.
Okay, but just in regards to the whole, like, just to give Darcy some points and then also talk about another big part of that scene. Donovan points out Hayward wants Vision for some reason. Now, again, so we saw Hayward has some shady Vision plans. Speaking of which, Operation Cataract, which I think is a really fun joke, by the way. Because he's trying to weaponize and just kind of limit Vision's like free will or something. So it's like a cataract. You get it? It's like limiting the field of vision, controlling the vision, or it's like dampening the vision. Anyway, but yeah. So it's just this idea of like, I think ultimately Hayward wants to weaponize Vision, and to do so he needs him dead, which is why, again, cruelly he and the guys aren't lifting a finger to help Vision, or at least like talk him down or anything. Come on, man, kind of got him. If they could at least like maybe could calm them down, or like, "Vision, listen to me," or like something. No, they just let him die. Like, suffer, die again, like you died that twice in Infinity War. Literally, I love how we mirror that scene every time. There's a really great runner. Every time Wanda uses her power against Vision, either to kill him or just to stop him in Civil War, he ends up on his knees, and it's a harrowing sequence. You feel so bad for the guy.
Yeah, I mean, Paul Bettany, this guy hasn't Vision suffered enough.
No one knows how to die better than Vision.
Let him live or let him die. Just leave him alone. I love.
We are talking about a show based on comic books.
Yeah,
I know. I'm being kind of goofy right now. I love Paul Bettany. I love Vision. I love this movie character or TV character, and it's just one of those things where I just want him to be happy. And I know it's based on comic books and it's a big soap opera and everything.
I'm rooting for him too, buddy. I am.
I'm on team
I
Vision. That's all.
I do think that this is genuinely that is this show's biggest triumph is. You just root for Wanda and Vision the entire time.
Yep. And that thing, Vision, this episode, he's literally pushing the boundaries of Wanda's hold on him in Westview. I mean, he's literally just trying to transcend the big old boundary, the big old, kind of Ellis alley of it all.
Yeah, something I thought that was interesting is when he does leave the boundary, he doesn't just turn into a weird zombie thing. It is the constructed like version of him that is starting to like phase away. So I just thought that was an interesting choice.
Yeah, it's like pulling him back too. It's all it's very harrowing. I love that, like, Vision, just building to that point. I love that at the start, he was just him not conforming to the sitcom. It was like the little rebellions, like he's trying to defy her and her tropes to figure out what's going on. It's just, again, I like that you're rooting for Vision, even though you know it's not going to end well.
Yeah.
But, I'm sorry, back to the sword of it all. I keep getting off track. But last thing with the Vision, with the sword of it all, I think Hayward said you don't know what it took to keep the lights on around here during the snap. That makes me think he's in bed with AIM. I think that's what he did to keep the lights on.
Oh, we did see a hazmat suit earlier.
Right, maybe, yeah, we keep seeing the hazmat suit thing, and of course we keep teeing up the whole, like the possible, basically of all things, we had a beekeeper, okay? That's not an accident. And we keep having the hexagon thing. I know we're building towards the Hex nickname, but that's gotta be AIM. We gotta be building the AIM. And again, I think
it has to do with, like, Darcy went through a firewall and, like, found information that we are still not privy to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know what that does. That probably has something to do with how he kept the lights on. I know Thomas TH1 in the comments had said that he thinks he created something like MODOK.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look, all I'm saying is if MODOK shows up and goes skadoosh and it's Jack Black, I'm going to stand up and applaud. So
Why Jack Black?
Jack Black is MODOK? How could you not want that?
I mean,
Well, no, wait. Connor, have you seen the MODOK, the clip from the MODOK series they're doing on Hulu?
No, I didn't know they were doing a MODOK.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's gonna be Patton Oswalt though is MODOK. It's really funny.
That's a good.
Yeah, seriously, check it out, man. It's really
good
cool.
casting.
I know. It looks really great. I can't wait for it. It's so it looks really funny. It's MODOK domesticated. It's like him trying to run AIM like as a small business, like an upstart from his house. It's really funny.
That's great.
But anyway, sorry. But my point is, yeah, I've been on the bandwagon of, again, I'm hoping the end plot for some of this. I mean, again, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But it'd be really cool if Hayward's plans were, again, somehow AIM gets involved. That AIM's trying to repurpose Vision's corpse into MODOK, which again, I think T Edge is kind of hinting at here, but more directly through Hayward, which I'm all for that. I think it's a great idea, and it's logically how you might get a MODOK.
So I got a question about Sword. How long has it been around?
Well, presumably, now we don't know 100%, but I mean the implication is that it's been around since the 90s, or at least it's been it's been in the works since the 90s, since after Captain Marvel.
Okay, well,
because
this is
Maria Rambeau is one of the founders, and presumably Nick Fury as well.
It's just kind of weird to me. This is just like what's going to happen whenever you are building a universe and you're going to have ideas for things that happened in the past that I just think it's a little weird that they're just showing up or we're just hearing about them now for the first time, even though we've had like 3 whole phases that involved a secret government agency. And it's just sort of interesting that they were able to kick S.H.I.E.L.D. into the stratosphere, but Sword, we just found out about him. I feel like if Nick Fury went through what he went through in Winter Soldier, he would have also done something to disband Sword or something. Maybe he did. Maybe there's more story to be told with the history of Sword, but I think their presence is a little odd. Well,
I think the idea is that S.H.I.E.L.D.'s more corruptible in that, again, that's an agency people know about, and that's like, it's more boots on the ground, where this is like space threats, which I mean, I think we can all get on board, like, we're trying to stop space threats, even if something bad did get in the Sword, I mean, for the most part.
Yeah, have they really talked about it being space threats in this show?
No, not really.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sorry, you're right. We've been here's the thing. So I'm thinking of that whole Fantastic Four theory we were getting on about last episode. Where that's where we're getting a lot of the space stuff because so Monica keeps hyping up her aerospace guy.
Yeah,
which again, presumably, I want it to be Reed. I want it too. It'd be great if we reveal, like, in the 90s, that's when we did the Fantastic Four. It didn't go well. That's why we don't talk about Sword.
But
no, it's sentient weapons more accurate. That's actually what it is,
Claude Karinga says Weird Al as MODOK. I would be okay with that, too.
That could be fun.
That's good.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, it's no Patton Oswalt, but,
No.
Hey, look, if I could have...
MODOK Patton Oswalt is Patton Oswalt.
Weird Al shows up making references to UHF, I will stand up and I will applaud. By the way, so generally, like we've been talking about, like how good like the references in this show generally are. Not to keep sounding like a sour grape or whatever. I did really like this episode, but in the last few episodes, they keep referencing Captain Marvel to Monica, and like there might be some kind of vindictiveness there.
A little bit of bad blood because she left her for years, presumably.
Baggage.
I wish they'd kind of lay off that. Like I got it. Unless like Captain Marvel shows up in the show, which I don't think she will, but like I don't know.
I think
we
it's
can
more
tone that down a little bit.
I think it's more setting up for Captain Marvel 2 than
Yeah.
Yeah, and that makes it a little.
Again, we're doing probably
for me.
Photon. I think we'll do the Photon origin by the end of this thing. We'll put her.
Oh yeah,
either in-
we are setting up Photon for sure.
So I think that's as far as we're going to go with the Captain Marvel stuff. But however, T-Edge 1 brings up a genius thing I didn't think about. T-Edge 1 brings up, I think she's talking about Talos, which, look, I want Reed Richards, T-Edge. Why you bring logic into things, man? Why do you got to... So basically bring up Talos and possibly Nick Fury by proxy. Again, because Nick Fury was in space, presumably, we assume that was Sword, given like it's consistent with Sword in space. That's also kind of what's throwing the whole sentient weapon in space thing into kind of chaos, because we know they're building something in space with Skrulls and Nick Fury. And again, if it's Nick... I'm sorry, yeah. Go.
No, sorry. I was going to say I love Talos. I think Ben Mendelsohn is an absolute joy in that role, and I love that.
Oh, yeah.
So the more Talos, the better. Bring on the Talos.
Wouldn't that's I'm so I'm on board so much though. If we do get reworked, because think of that, we started with Skrulls, been building the Fantastic Four in the background in a really cool way though. We getting the Skrulls, we getting Reed Richards, and potentially in Black Panther 2 we do Doctor Doom. We're building all the stuff, man.
That would be very cool.
Yeah.
I am very into that.
And with all that, we could just dive straight into the fun stuff with Fantastic Four.
I know, right? The foundation's there.
Because I mean, objectively, the worst part about any Fantastic Four movie is getting through them getting their powers.
Yeah. Which, I mean, all I need in the MCU, look at the Incredible Hulk opening credits. Just to give you an example, we know everything we need to know about him and the origin just in the opening credits. That's as far as it should be with the Fantastic Four. Like, we either that or like one scene where we don't show it, we just hear we have like a debriefing about what happened to the Fantastic Four. Okay, up to speed, we're all good.
Yeah, no, I think that's, and they sort of have handled Spider-Man in a similar way where he's already Spider-Man.
Yeah.
We're not really worrying about the origin. I think they might actually do a similar thing with Fantastic Four, since we've gotten like 3 different versions of the Fantastic Four in film already. So,
yeah, officially 2, but that depends on who you ask.
Depends on who you're asking. There are 2 or 3.
Roger Corman will say 3, but you know.
I think that they might just do the origins so they can say we have 4 Fantastic Four origins. So.
All right.
I would be legitimately pissed if they tried to do that.
A few Easter eggs.
They give me Naomi Watts as Sue Storm. I don't care what they do. That would be
Emily Blunt though.
I mean, I'm sure she'd be great, but I want Billy Crudup and Naomi Watts as Reed and Sue.
I think you know me. I want Michael Sheen as
You saying Michael Sheen makes me wish I haven't been on the Billy Crudup train, but I'm already this many years into it, so I got to stay on that train.
No, the Crudup's. I suppose Crudup's a great choice. Anyway, okay, so let me highlight a few Easter eggs, and we should do some comments. And I think that probably is going to sum us up. We have the mom tattoo on Pietro. They're a little the House of M, little multiverse of madness. You know.
Okay.
That's his actual tattoo.
Oh, really?
Well, that's the thing. Even if it is like a real tattoo, like that had to have gone through.
Yeah,
that had to go through directing. That had to go through all kinds of different departments.
It was an intentional choice to
show it.
Keep it. It had to have been.
Yeah, and that's really cool.
There was a fun reference to so both Aaron Taylor Johnson and Evan Peters, they were both in the Kick-Ass franchise together, and we kind of reference that here in a way where it's just like just kind of takes a bit there. Wait, what? It's like yeah,
That was funny. That was funny.
Yeah.
All right. Let me go through the comments here. Well, I just want to also highlight Simba Trey was in the comments while we were talking about basically he brings up the commercial. It's like a lot of Go-Gurt vibes from the 2000s kids show. That the
Very
2000s
bad.
kids know. Sorry.
Yeah,
Very bad.
My era of growing up. So that was like nostalgia hitting me like a freight train.
Claudie, he brought up that a Halloween episode that came out a few days before Valentine's Day. Very, very odd, but somehow great.
Yeah, I think the show was originally going to be airing around Halloween. So
Yeah.
I know. I wish that was the case too. Again, knowing that in that little glimpse of the trailer, I was back during last October. I was telling Tiki, "Oh God, please! In a perfect world, they just drop it all at once, and they drop it all around Halloween."
Yeah.
T-Edge, he's posited the idea of like multiple villains, creating like the perfect storm, and Donovan kind of fed into it like Mephisto, Nightmare, and Agatha Harkness, which that's a deadly combination there. All very tied into possible Wanda stuff for sure. I felt.
Yeah, I think that maybe I don't know if we're gonna deal with like a whole cabal of like demonic characters or like witches and whatnot, but maybe it'll just be one. Who knows?
There, since you bring that, maybe not with those three characters, but a lot of people have pointed out. I mean, it was just way before we actually got like evidence for any of this, but the next phase of like what the next threat for the Avengers could be, people have thought about that's not the Brotherhood of Evil. That's the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. The Masters of Evil. I think it's called the Masters of Evil. We have like this whole bunch of like kind of a cabal of Marvel villains, which so far usually that includes. We saw this on Earth's Mightiest Heroes as like kind of the prime example, but it's been in the comics, and like some people are. We have Baron Zemo, who we are getting. Abomination, who we are also getting. The Grim Reaper, who kind of we kind of dropped an Easter egg at in this show, who ties into the Vision comic this is kind of based on. So I'm just saying there might be some connective tissue there for the Masters of Evil if they go that route. And again, potentially Doctor Doom, depending on how Black Panther goes, but we'll see.
Right.
But yeah. So on the whole, I mean, again, anything else you guys want to get in there? Anything else you want to talk about? We're not thinking of.
I think
we covered everything.
Yeah, I've been very thorough.
Yeah. Okay. Well, again, Connor, we loved having you on, buddy.
Hey, always happy to chat.
Anything you wanted to plug? Just because I think we forgot about that last time.
Oh, yeah, I don't really do the social media thing. But if you guys like reading reviews of movies, I'm on Letterboxd. That is Connor with an E. And then Nielsen, Nielsen, and pretty much just write about every movie I watch. And I've been watching through all of Ridley Scott's movies lately. So, yeah, that's what I'm plugging.
I'm actually going to rewatch Hannibal recently. You're bringing up Ridley Scott for the it's been on the mind. The 30th anniversary of Silence of the Lambs is what's this? It's Valentine's Day. It's this Sunday.
Oh wow! Oh, that's okay. I might actually have to jump ahead because I've been watching his in order and been watching one a week, and I'm like 6 weeks into this now. I might have to just break protocol and watch Hannibal then.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, to make it fair, I think that about wraps us up then, buddy.
Yeah. So that'll do it for us this week as our whole star remotes. Till the next installment calls for the draw. Mono y mono, just plus and us. Have a great night, everyone.